So still looking at your left eye here, Broderick, which would relate to your mum. Do you have a family history of diabetes on her side?
She was recently diagnosed with diabetes. I'm not sure what type it was, but it's I suppose is it type 2, the late onset one?
Yeah.
Anyway, they tried to put her on some form of drugs to control it, but she doesn't like drugs, or neither do I. That's where I must get it from, I suppose. And anyway, she's been able to control it, with her diet.
Yep.
And I think it's probably actually helped her more than anything. She's been healthier the last couple of years than she has in a long time.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I can think of diabetes-wise in the family.
Yep.
Like I said, not fully aware of all of my family's medical history.
So there is kind of an indication around your pancreas that it might be under a bit of stress. So your pancreas produces the hormones and enzymes that help to break down your food, and it also helps to reduce your blood sugar level. So when you're having quite a bit of sugar, for example, when you're having soft drink and quite a bit of lollies or chocolate and things like that, your pancreas is having to work a lot harder than it usually would. Try and just be mindful of that. Try not to have a huge spike of a lot of sugar, especially if it's there is a family history and a bit of a weakness there for you. So with your sugar intake, if you know you're going to be having a lot of sugar coming up to the Christmas period or Easter, things like that, maybe just try and have just a little bit of sugar, just build up to it. Try not to have too much sugar over the period, and then also be tapering off so that you're not just hitting your pancreas really hard and making it work kind of in overdrive.
And then just stopping.
Yeah, and then just cutting off as well. So also try and think about your diet and things like that, wanting to be increasing your fruit and vegetables and things like that, rather than your takeaways and McDonald's or foods like that. Have a think about having something substantial in the morning for breakfast that can kind of carry you through, then having a reasonable snack, then your lunch as well. So just trying to make sure that your sugar's not really spiking and plummeting as well. It's not good for people that have a tendency for diabetes. So what would your diet typically consist of, Broderick?
Well, I think it would be mostly. I don't really have breakfast too often. I've started trying to have breakfast. I probably pick up most of my food from the server and stuff. So it's probably mostly fast food, so deep fried or stuff like that, sausage rolls and stuff. And then the tea's usually not too bad. It's usually some form of chicken. It's probably the most common eaten, but it's usually some form of meat, and then some sort of veggies or something. I don't know, I wouldn't say I don't really deep fried tea very often or anything like that, but yeah, most of my bad food's during the day and stuff. But one meal of chicken and some veggies is probably not enough to live off healthily.
Yeah, so try and aim for 2 serves of fruit and 5 serves of veggies, but also trying to have something substantial throughout the day. You are working hard and outdoors and things like that, so you need to keep your energy levels up. Try and steer away from your deep fried foods and things like that. It puts a lot of extra pressure on your arteries and also contributes to weight gain and things like that.
Is this saying that there's something wrong with my pancreas, or just that I'm predisposed to having a weakness in that area sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely predisposed with your mother having diabetes, but also there is kind of a dark shadow type thing over your pancreas, which means it is under stress at the moment.
So is that a recent thing, or how long do they sort of last, or is it just maybe because it's been Christmas and everything, or is it sort of a long time thing that builds up, or is it can reflect the last couple of weeks sort of thing?
Yeah, so it can be both. It is quite dark, so it indicates that it is kind of chronic, so it's not just been kind of a recent thing. With your eyes, the things that we can see in your eyes, obviously some things are permanent and structural, but other things are kind of transient. So it will change every 3 months or so when, with a new blood cycle. But having said that, it is quite dark, so it would indicate that you have been putting a lot of pressure or stress on your pancreas for quite a bit of time now. Yeah. Does that seem consistent?
Yeah, maybe, probably. I mean,
yeah.
I think my diet's probably been pretty bad for probably about 2 years now. Before that, such a small thing to dislocate your knee, but changes such a large aspect of a lot of your life.
Yeah.
I suppose it changed my job, and my job was steady, and I could take an esky to work and put it in the fridge, and then you'd come out and you'd eat, it was factory work, so you'd have 15 minutes, you'd come out, you'd eat, you'd get back to work, you'd have your set time, whereas you work for, I work for myself now, so I eat whenever I sort of get a bit of time or whatever, so sometimes I don't eat, sometimes I do. What I eat's not prepared, it's just sort of, I'm in the servo grabbing some fuel, I'll grab a sausage roll and a can of Coke or something, and so obviously that's a lot of, as you probably imagine, random spikes of sugar and crap food. So it's why I'm here anyway, to see what's sort of wrong on the inside of me.
With your food and things like that, try and stay away from your refined flour and sugar and things. Other things that you could look at eating. Do you eat fish at all?
No, I'm not a fish eater. I don't like any particular seafood except calamari, strangely enough. I used to eat fish as a kid, but don't eat it anymore.
So you do need to get the omega-3. So you could try taking a fish oil tablet. They are quite small, and
I used to take fish oil as a kid, but I normally get a little bit of acid reflux or something here or there. I notice it's a lot more when I drink Coke, but the fish oil I've always had trouble with it coming back. I mean, I hate the taste of fish, obviously, more than anything, so sort of haven't done that since I was a kid.
You can get odourless ones now, which prevent that reflux. You don't get that fishy taste back in your mouth. The other thing that you can do, which contains omega-3, is almonds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds and things like that. You could try those kinds of nuts. They will be quite good as a snack. Maybe some dried fruit as well, like just in a small container. You can eat those throughout the day.
Do they have large amounts of the omega-3 in them, or is it if the odourless ones don't come back? Are they a lot more potent, I suppose is the word?
The tablets?
Yeah.
The tablets are probably more potent. They're more concentrated. But definitely your almonds and things like that, just having a handful of those would help to boost those levels as well. So we did discuss it a little bit earlier, just with your lungs. So when you're doing your work and things outside, are you getting a lot of dust and things?
I do a little bit of concrete grinding here and there, so I'm probably not as safe as I should be. I don't wear a mask as often as I should and stuff. And, more than anything, it just clogs my nose up with dust. But I've never noticed it affected me much. I think my offside had worked with me, and he did it, and I gave him a mask, and he chose not to wear it, or didn't want to wear it, kept taking it off, and he's had trouble with coughing for the last month and a half or so, sort of just going away now. So I suppose it must be affecting me. Maybe I don't feel it as much. He is asthmatic, which is why I told him he should wear the mask.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something you should be doing if you're grinding and picking up a lot of dust and things like that. Definitely try and wear at least one of those masks, but you can get ones with kind of a filter on them as well, which are very good. That'll prevent the dust and things going into your lungs, and it could cause problems later on down the track as well. Okay, so there is a bit of shading over your sinuses and things like that. So with your excess mucus and stuff, have you had a fair bit of like sinus infections and sinusitis and things like that? Kind of head colds.
I get a bit of head colds here and there, and same with everything. Everything else, anything to do with my breathing or sinus and all that seems to hit me hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get sick that often, but yeah, when I do get a head cold or whatever, it is quite full on. My nose is, I think I've had a doctor tell me my nose is bent one way or the other, and it causes one nose to block up, and it also causes one side of my head to get a headache, not the other.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it can block up the whole sinus.
Have you looked at getting it straightened out, or?
No, I could be bothered with that. Plastic surgery for a blocked nose.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, there is a bit of shading over your nose as well, so I'd say that's what that would be, having it not in alignment or whatever. So did you have a knock to it or something?
I've knocked it a few times in my life. I was probably when I was younger, I was being a little bit annoying to a girl who was helping our family move, and she punched me square in the nose. And I think that's where it was pushed out of alignment. So that was probably when I was 9 years old, and maybe even a little younger, and I never even noticed until I was about 17 and went in one day to the chemist, and the pharmacist in the back, or the doctor, I don't really remember which one, sort of said to me, yeah, you'll always get one side blocking out more than the other because your nose is not straight. I never even, it's not enough to even notice otherwise.
Yeah. Okay, no worries. So there is a bit of dark shading over your lumbar and your lowest back and spine and things like that.
Yep.
So do you have a bit of pain there, or is it?
I can get I don't know if I have a bit of pain there. I get occasional bit of pain in my lower back from doing a couple of things that I know I shouldn't. Like if I lie on the couch and face the TV and look up at the TV and do that too often, I notice that my lower back will get a bit sore, especially on my right side of my body. But yeah, I don't do it for a couple of months, and then I'll forget about it and do it again, and then I'll notice it's sore again. I'll have to go and stop doing it for a couple of weeks again, and it goes away. So I don't know whether it's just something wrong with me, or whether it's just constantly, if I do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so if you hit your thumb, it hurts. So if you stretch it back the wrong way, it hurts.
Have you had any treatment for it? Any like
I've
chiropractic?
been to the chiropractor a little bit. He said it's out, but I've tried bone therapy. That seems to work better. But like I said, it's just one of those. It's not so much a chronic issue to me as more of a just. I know it's the wrong way to sit or the wrong way to do it, so I just try and avoid doing it.
Yeah,
if I do it, then I suffer what I should probably not be doing anyway.
And when you're working, it doesn't cause you any pain?
No. Only while I'm working, like I said, it's only the beginning of each season of major spraying that I get a sore back, and that's just from working the back out. No different from if I did like a big day at a gym or something like that. I don't seem to have any issues with it. Otherwise, the job is quite strenuous on the back, but my back is quite strong, so I don't think I feel it's any during a normal work day. I wouldn't feel it. It's only after a couple of months of not doing any of the job and then coming back into it.
And are you conscious when you're working, when you're lifting something heavy, that you're bending from your knees and not using
a little
your
more
back?
conscious these days than I used to be. Mostly because of my knee, and I try and hold my whole body in proper position when I'm lifting stuff. But I wouldn't say I was overly conscious, and my job doesn't require me to lift too much of heavy weights. More a lot of little weights, more just the holding the weight out when I'm standing up doing the actual spraying itself.
Yeah. So just if you are carrying things that are quite heavy, just making sure you bend from your knees so you're not putting that extra pressure on your back and hurting it. So like I can see here that you're probably what we call an AT type. So do you find that you have a bit of tension in your body? You feel that you kind of tense sometimes?
Sometimes. Not never used to be, but I suppose recently in the last years, running your own business can have its has its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
Staff and organising money is probably the two biggest ones. Like my one's only just starting out, and I'm not always confident of the cash flow coming in. And then because it's only just starting out and I'm slightly seasonal work,
Yep.
like I've had probably 10 different people work for me in 2 years, so you're always training someone new and dealing with them, and they do something silly and cost you a bit of money, or something and upset a customer, or just don't show up for work. Can be a little bit strenuous, but
So do you feel that's causing you a bit of anxiety?
maybe I'm not overly stressed. I'm a fairly chillaxed guy. I probably had a couple of sleepless nights with a couple of different jobs, but not a constant thing, not all the time.
Yeah. Do
Hopefully
you-
that'll lessen over the next few years.
And when you're stressed, do you find that you're grinding your teeth?
I don't know. I had good teeth, and as you can see, they're a little bit ground now. I feel like I ground them for a short period of time, and then haven't really ground them since. So I don't know what was happening during that period of time there. I was going through a breakup, I suppose, and a change in work.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that affected it. I mean, maybe it did, or whether something else has changed. But yeah, I noticed my teeth ground down, and everyone told me I was grinding my teeth. And then when I realised that, I haven't really ground them since. So I sort of keep an eye on it, but I don't notice I'm grinding at the moment or anything like that.
Yeah. So with your grinding your teeth, if it gets too bad, then you might look at getting prosthetics put in, not just for your aesthetic look and things, but also just it might change your jaw and things like that, as well as like making sure that you're still able to chew your foods properly and things like that.
Well, I've had a few times I've been to the dentist, and they say things like I can get a plate at night or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if I'm still grinding,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I'll keep an
Yeah.
eye on that. I'll keep an eye on that anyway.
So that's something that is typical for that type. Just a bit of just you're tensing up a little bit with things going on in your life, and you have a tendency when you're sleeping to still be a bit anxious or whatever, and it's grinding your teeth and things like that. The other thing with that type is if you are tense and a bit anxious, it can affect your digestive system. So if you're tense, your stomach's not able to move the food along and to break it all down properly, and it can cause problems with your digestion and constipation and things like that. So how are your bowel movements at the moment? Are you having a regular bowel movement?
I'm pretty sure my bowel movements are regular.
Yeah.
Like my bowel movements are pretty good, I think, personally. I don't know about the digestive system. I mean, lately I seem to have probably a little bit more gas or flatulence.
Yep.
But I've always been able to eat pretty well anything, and I don't really get constipated. The only time I remember ever being constipated was when I was on a pain medication for my knee. That actually made me constipated, and I only probably had diarrhea 2 or 3 times in my life that I can remember, and one of those was after the constipation with my knee.
Yeah.
And another one was when I went overseas. I had some different food. Another time was when I had, I believe, food poisoning that I got from my sister.
Yeah.
So I think all around I think that my bowels and stuff seem to function all right.
Yeah, that's good.
Why is it saying there's something?
No, just we just ask how it's going, and if you're not regular, you are having constipation, then we can look at things to help with that. So around here is your collarette, which indicates your digestive system, and it does look quite good. It's not distended or restricted at all, and we can see it quite clearly all the way around. It's just good to ask. So how much water a day would you say you drink?
I'm pretty sure I probably only drink 1 to 2 glasses per day.
Mm-hmm. And are you drinking any other like fluids?
I might drink a bit of Powerade, otherwise mostly Coke and juice more than anything. I'm a big fan of juice, not a big fan of the taste of water.
Okay. So you definitely need to be drinking more than 1 to 2 glasses a day.
Everyone tells me that when I talk to them about
Yeah.
this.
So typically you should be drinking 2 litres of clear fluids a day, with at least 1 litre of that water. So whether you might find that you like flavoured water a bit better, if you can put some lemon juice or something else with it might help. You can try herbal teas, herbal iced teas, vegetable broths. You can try the vegetable and fruit juices, but try and water those down a bit, usually about 50-50 ratio. And especially with working outside and in the hot sun and things like that, I'd say you'd easily probably sweat 1 to 2 glasses a day, especially in the summer, working outside. So you do need to try and replenish that. Your Powerade and things like that are good because it contains your electrolytes, and it helps to replace those minerals and things that might be lost throughout the day with you sweating and things like that. So yeah, definitely try and have a bit more water though. Okay, so the only other thing we'll talk about from your left eye is this shading in here. It indicates that you have got a fair bit of pressure on your liver at the moment. So have you been drinking quite a bit of alcohol or lately?
A little bit lately with Christmas and New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally drink much, but yeah, I mean, depending on how, only has been a little bit recently, so.
Yeah. And any other chemicals and things like that? Do you work with a lot of chemicals? Or?
I work with a few chemicals. I don't know whether I absorb them. And I suppose sometimes I do see a concrete ceiling, and some people say it's quite potent and leave, but I don't even notice it anymore, so I don't know whether that's getting into me. I mean, probably just a little bit. I don't know whether it's damaging or not.
Yeah. So it is kind of over your mouth and over your nose. So whether you're breathing it in or whether it's something that you're ingesting through your mouth as well. Yeah.
I'm definitely not eating any chemicals or anything from work.
Pardon?
I'm definitely not eating any chemicals that I know of from work or anything like that.
Yeah.
Unless maybe bad food.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Chemicals in the food and things like that. Okay. So if we have a look at your left eye now, your right eye, so this relates to your father's side. Have you got any heart problems on your father's side?
He has a little bit of, I'm not sure if it's a heart problem, but he has some high blood pressure because that was putting strain on his heart apparently, but not that I know of on any other part of it.
Mm-hmm. And have you had your blood pressure checked recently, Dr.?
A while ago, but it was fine back then. It was actually, even though I am and was a little bit overweight, I had fine blood pressure and cholesterol and quite a low heart rate actually as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they said I was healthy, just overweight.
Yeah. So does he have any problems with his aorta at all? Do you know?
It couldn't be that specific. Like I said, I just know he takes a tablet for his high blood pressure, so it doesn't strain his heart.
Yeah. So it might be worth getting your blood pressure checked again soon, and have a chat to them. Also, try and reduce the high fats and things that you have been eating with your McDonald's and takeaway and deep fried things. Help to reduce your cholesterol. Try and replace it with your good fats. So things like avocados, good quality olive oils and coconut oils also really good for you. So try and replace things like that with that. Yeah. So there's also some indications here that your kidneys might be under a bit of pressure as well. I'd say that might have something to do with the the lack of water that you've been having, so you're quite dehydrated. So trying to increase your